Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're joining us today because we are diving into something absolutely crucial, taking a vital and urgently needed look at how organizations oversee the management of sexual exploitation and abuse, or SEA, allegations. Our goal for this explainer is a powerful one. We're going to unpack how to shift protection from sexual exploitation and abuse, or PSEA, from just being a theoretical compliance checklist into a visible, daily leadership discipline. We're drawing entirely from a specialized self-learning module that fundamentally rethinks how senior leaders approach these crises. Remember, it's not just about what you know, it's about what you visibly do.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll expose the gap between policy and daily practice, walk through a high-pressure anonymous allegation, anchor ourselves to some core oversight principles, listen to diverse frontline voices, and finally, lock in concrete leadership action. Let's just jump right in.
Now, I want you to ask yourself this. What happens when a policy exists, but nobody actually trusts it? Seriously, think about that. It's a pretty dangerous illusion to assume that just because an organization has a written document, the people it's meant to protect actually feel safe using it. Our source material makes a really striking point here. The true test isn't whether a policy is just sitting on the books. The real question is whether people can understand it, trust it, use it, and receive a safe response when they do. Let's explore what that looks like in the reality of everyday field behavior.
Starting with Section 1, Policy versus Daily Practice. We really have to confront this dangerous gap between official declarations and what people actually experience on the ground every single day.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? Organizations, well, we love our compliance documents, those heavy theoretical rulebooks. But here's a surprising reality check. In stressful field environments, people rarely consult a 50-page manual to decide if they feel safe. Personnel and partners don't judge you by your paperwork. They judge you by your lived, observable behavior. A delayed meeting, an unclear clause, a budget cut without discussion, or a reporting channel that's only available online, these small, visible choices send massive signals about what leadership truly values. A leader has to move from basic awareness to disciplined practice.
Moving on to Section 2, the anonymous allegation. We're going to drop you right into a high-pressure, fictional crisis just to stress test your ethical decision-making.
Picture this unfolding on your desk right now. An anonymous, somewhat incomplete SEA allegation drops into a community feedback channel. Boom. Almost instantly, staff start demanding details. Rumors catch fire in the community. And a partner organization completely panics about operations being suspended. The pressure to react immediately is immense, but a quick reaction? That can often be the exact wrong reaction.
So here is the absolute most critical directive. Pause. Literally, just pause. Do not jump immediately to a quick technical fix. You've got to secure the environment first. Ask yourself, who might be at risk right now? Who has authority in this situation? Who lacks access? What information absolutely must remain confidential? And what is the actual decision needed in this precise moment? It's all about securing the environment before trying to fix the problem.
All right, Section 3, Core Principles of Oversight. Because to govern all that chaos, leaders absolutely have to drop an anchor into some unshakable principles.
So what are those principles? Well, your primary responsibilities are actually quite clear. First, monitor timely follow-up, but, and this is key, without interfering in the actual investigation. Second, elevate the assistance, protection, and dignity of survivors above everything else. Third, proactively hunt for response gaps and early warning signs after each case. And finally, lock down strict confidentiality. This is what disciplined practice looks like. It shifts the mindset away from just being vaguely aware of a problem to actively protecting people.
Our source material boils leadership down to just one word here: consistency. And honestly, it hits the nail on the head. Your team, your partners, they notice everything. They notice if senior leaders actually show up to PSEA briefings. They notice if leaders ask for evidence, if they actually fund agreed actions, and if they respond respectfully to difficult questions. And perhaps most importantly, they notice your silence. Your consistency is, quite literally, your credibility.
Now, there is this razor-thin, delicate line between leadership oversight and technical interference. Healthy oversight? That looks like funding actions, monitoring follow-up, and prioritizing survivor dignity. But stepping over that line to conduct informal investigations, speculating publicly, or oversharing details? No way. That interference is super dangerous. It can completely ruin the integrity of the process and expose individuals to severe retaliation.
Which brings us to Section 4, listening to diverse voices. Because honestly, the way you design a system doesn't mean a thing if people can't safely access it.
Our source really forces us to look at the system through completely different lenses. Think about a chief of office holding authority, someone in case management focused purely on survivor safety, a field supervisor dealing with community rumors, or someone on the front line handling intake challenges for community feedback. Diverse communities just do not experience risk in the same way. You quickly realize that a standard action plan might look brilliant on paper, but it totally fails for someone facing weak connectivity, language barriers, or a profound fear of retaliation. You have to ask how your plan works for the front line. You have to design for them.
And all of this listening really culminates in one critical concept: the victim-centered approach. Basically, this means prioritizing the assistance, protection, and dignity of victims and survivors in literally every single decision and action you take. I want you to reflect on your own environment for a second. When you're making decisions, whose voice is missing from your table? Have you considered the person with the absolute least power to influence those decisions, and how your organization can actually safely hear their perspective?
Okay, final stretch. Section 5. Taking concrete leadership action. It's time to translate all these insights into a documented, highly practical action plan.
So this framework systematically moves you from picking up on a weak signal right through to implementing a safe response. For example, if you notice a practical problem, you need to separate facts from assumptions, record the issue, and protect confidentiality. If field rumors start to escalate, well, avoid blame and consult your focal point. Or if you're missing policy support, identify the procedures you need and agree on the next safe step. You shouldn't wait for a full-blown crisis before strengthening your systems. Catch those weak signals early and respond proportionately.
But here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually prove you're doing this? The source gives us some super practical ways to measure evidence of progress. Things like reviewing your training completion rates, verifying that your reporting channels are actually working, tracking budget execution, analyzing community feedback trends, and documenting follow-up on risks. But the absolutely critical, non-negotiable rule here: this evidence has to be practical for management oversight, but it must absolutely never expose victims, survivors, complainants, or witnesses. Period.
So application is everything. The source material explicitly challenges learners to find a quick win that you can complete within the next 72 hours. Yep, 72 hours. What can you do in the next 3 days? I mean, it could be as simple as adding PSEA to your next management meeting agenda, or just updating contact info for reporting channels. It's really all about creating immediate, visible momentum that proves to your team that your commitment is real, not just theoretical.
I want to leave you with a final, kind of provocative thought inspired by our source material. As you go out and implement these changes, ask yourself this: how will you know whether your action actually reduced risk rather than simply creating another document? It's a profound question, right? It really challenges us to evaluate our true impact in the field. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer to walk through these vital concepts. Take that 72-hour challenge. Look at your systems with fresh eyes and keep learning.